Yeah. So very quickly, Haley, can you take it away with the creativity prompt?
Yes, I can. So right here is the creativity prompt. So here at the Kortschak Center, we like to encourage and like we have the belief that every student is different. We all come from like different backgrounds. We all come from a kind of a different like standpoint, learning wise. And so here we have this prompt, right? And you see it's a little squiggly line. And so what we like to challenge students or anyone we're like presenting to do is to get creative. So what we're gonna do is if you see at the top of your screen, if you like toggle towards the top, you see like a green thing that says you are viewing Kevin's screen, right? And then next to it's view options. If you click on it and click annotate, it'll give you a little toolbar. And then you're gonna click draw, and there's about 11 of us in here. So each of us could take a box, and then, for example, I'm gonna just start drawing right here. Not very well, but here my drawing would be like a little cup, and that's the curly straw. So each of y'all is gonna take a little box and kind of finish the drawing, and we're gonna see.
How to do that? How do we do
Yeah,
that?
I'm gonna put it in the chat, but at the top of your screen, you should see a little an option that says view options, and then you click it and then annotate. And then if anyone can't see that, let me know. So it looks like some people are getting it.
Oh, you got it, Francisco.
Yeah. I see a heart, I see a face, I see a light bulb. Pretty cool. I've seen students do, I just saw a student do something super creative the other week. I think it was like, honestly, I think they were just really good at it. Like I was like, how could you draw that well with the mouse? I think they drew a ballerina, I think it was.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
I see a pig. I see two pigs. But yeah, so the annotation feature is really cool when you're like presenting workshops and stuff. And so we're gonna use it a little bit more today as well. So yeah, and as you can see, like we started with the same prompt, right? We all started with the squiggly line, but we each took it a different direction. And that just goes to show like how we as humans are super creative, we're super innovative, and we all see the world in a different way. But yes, thanks for indulging in this fun little activity with me.
Food.
I had a creative word.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. I've never seen that before. See, we each take it a different way. I'm gonna take one more second, wave bye to your drawings, and I'm gonna clear them all. Cool. And that's one thing about annotations. You have to clear, whoever the host is has to clear the screen, or else it will just go on to the next screen as well.
Yeah, and the thing is to like, sometimes your mouse disappears. And so I'm trying to figure out where my mouse is. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, nice. So first off, when it comes to online learning, right, it's helpful to create a dedicated learning space, right? So we know that, as students, when you're at school, right, your main role is being a student, but when you're at home, you have other roles too, right? Like such as being a son, a daughter, an older brother, older sister, and so on and so forth. And that carries on a bunch of different responsibilities, right? And so when it comes to like helping you be more productive in an online learning space, it's helpful to designate a place for you to learn, right? So that you don't get distracted or you don't like mix your roles with anything else, right? So one thing is to try to find a comfortable space, separate from space used for free time, right? So if you're in a room with an Xbox, right, maybe it's best to not work in that room with an Xbox, right? And so you want to find a place that's different from like where you would usually relax, right? For example, another place is a bed, right? You don't want to work in bed because the bed is usually where you go to rest, right? So it kind of gives your mind some like mental boundaries to have. Also, it helps to have everything you need nearby so you don't have to keep walking around, So, you want to make sure that you have your like laptop, your pens, your notebooks and papers all in the same like space so that, you're less inclined to walk around the house to find those things. Another thing too is to try to eliminate digital and physical distractions, right? So once again, like that Xbox, right? If you get distracted by the Xbox, don't be in the room with the Xbox. And Haley later on will give you some digital ways to like get rid of those distractions as well. But also communicate with the housemates or with people you live with, right? Let them know that, at this hour, I'm going to be studying, right? So I appreciate it if you don't like, bother me during that time or like do something else during that time, right? So that's something very helpful. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but recently my brother just came in and he started like, talking to me. I'm like, no, get out of here, right? So it's helpful to let your family members know when you need to do work or you need to study. That way you don't get distracted. And also, now that we're doing classes online, right? It's also helpful to take a break every 20 minutes to stare at an object that's 20 minutes away, or 20 feet away, right? So that's called a 20-20 activity. So let's do this right now. So look around your room, see your room might not be 20 by 20 feet, but try to find the largest object and just stare at it for 20 seconds. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, that felt like 20 seconds. Cool. So did that feel a little bit relaxing?
What am I supposed to be feeling? Or why would we do that?
So it's to give your mind a break, but also your eyes as well. Because then when you're looking at like an object or like the screen for like a long time, your eyes actually get fatigued. And so you might start getting double vision, things start getting blurry, you might feel more tired than you actually are. So when you take a break, when you do that staring activity, that gives your eyes like a break. So you can last longer. Oh, cool. Good question. So now semester calendar. And so with the semester calendar, so this is another way to be productive or to organize yourself, right? So when you start off with your semester, right, you're gonna get it's a beautiful thing that your teachers give you a syllabus, because the syllabus lists all the assignments that you have, right? And so what's best to do is actually to put all the assignments on your semester calendar so that you don't get surprised by what comes up. So you actually can see it ahead of time. And so like, when you kind of preview your week in advance, you can see like, hey, I have this essay coming up, so I'm going to start planning for it so that you don't like do it last minute, right? So that's a really big benefit of having a semester calendar. You put in all the important dates, you put in all like the birthdays and whatnot, the midterms, when you got to do a quiz. So it's basically anything it takes to eliminate surprises from your schedule. And so we just posted the calendar onto the chat. All right. And next we have structuring your week, right? And so your week, or structuring your day or your week, right? So you want to be consistent with what your week looks like. So one thing to do is to actually put down all your classes onto your week, to kind of have a designated time when like, oh, this time I'm going to be doing like chemistry class, right? This time will be English class, right? That way, when you put in those consistent times, you can find other times you can use to study or to take a break or to exercise or something, right? Or to hang out with friends on Zoom. And so yeah, this just for your week to week, it's helpful to structure it with like what your schedule looks like. And of course, you can do this on your Google Calendar as well, because I know I do, and it's actually been pretty helpful. So yeah, and make sure you schedule self-care as well. I mean, yeah, it's great to hustle and it's great to get that money, but sometimes you can't enjoy the money if your body breaks down, right? So give yourself some time to rest and to relax. And relaxing is a very important thing, so it's helpful to plan that ahead of time as well. So yeah, it's helpful to be disciplined with that. And so while we're on the topic, what are some healthy routines that you have developed recently? So let's have like maybe 3 people share.
So I have ADHD and it's very distractible. A healthy habit I picked up was just kind of that realization of if my space is dirty, like I will get nothing done. So like I have to keep my space clean. Like I have to designate time once a week where I just deep clean my study space and my bedroom.
Nice. So having a consistent cleaning routine. That's good.
I started sleeping more. I never slept a lot in the past, and since I sleep more, I just feel way more productive, way better. Before I thought the least I sleep, the more time I'm putting into work and stuff, the better it is. But since I sleep, I just realized I'm way more productive the hours that I'm awake.
Nice. So do you give yourself like a designated bedtime or like a designated wake up time?
Designated both.
Nice.
Both. Yes.
Well, thanks. Anyone else?
I could go. I don't know if it's procrastination as much as like a relaxing activity. I think sometimes it's both. But I'll take a break from schoolwork, and I really like drawing and painting, and I got into it this summer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. So like, what are some of the things you like to paint or draw?
I actually have one under my desk. I can dig it up and show you, but yeah. I'm trying to learn how to do still lifes. They're sort of boring, but really fun to do. So like, this is an orchid plant I painted, and it's still like a work in progress, but yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that's good. I really like how all of you are really specific for how you're, going to be healthy, right? Like having a specific time to like rest or to like draw or to sleep or even to clean. So yeah, so like walking away from this, I encourage everyone to take some time to think about something they want to do, right? Like a schedule to do that. Good.
Cool. And here is the action plan. So in a second, I will drop this in the chat like I had dropped the semester calendar and the weekly calendar. But with the action plan, you're just getting more specific, right? So with the weekly calendar, you're putting in like your classes, your work meetings, your other responsibilities that are like, you have to do these things. But the action plan is where you break it down even further. So if you see on the student's action plan, on the left-hand column, they have all their classes, and on the top, they put the dates. And so let's look at, in the middle section, it says like CTCS, like 473. By Monday, they have to show an edit to their professor, right? So then they backtrack it. So on Friday, they plan to find the footage, write the script, and record narration. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they're gonna edit their videos. So by Monday, it's ready to show it to the professor. So I really like action plans because something that for me personally, when I have a big assignment, I psych myself out. Like if I have a paper to write, I'm gonna psych myself out. Like I don't know how to start. I don't know like how to do my research. I don't know anything. So I just procrastinate. I'm not gonna think about it now. I'll think about it later, and that's not healthy. So instead, I've tried to do like action plans. So if I have a big paper due in 2 weeks, on Monday, I'm gonna write down on my planner, on Monday, I have to find at least 2 research articles that I'm gonna use in my paper, and just breaking it down so the larger task becomes more manageable. And let me drop this resource in the chat right now. Do you have any questions about the action plan or anything that we've covered so far? Cool.
Yeah, I see Katerina mentioned that she's a naturally disorganized person, so she likes the semester calendar. Same here. The semester calendar is really nice, especially because I'm really disorganized as well. Cool.
Cool. And then so the next, here's one of the time management techniques that we have. Have any of y'all heard of the POMODORO technique before? So
I have, yeah.
You have, William has.
Yeah, I have.
Katerina, do you want to explain?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher it. I don't remember it exactly. I've done it before in a class activity, and it involved using a timer. So I think if you need to sit down and do a task that you've been procrastinating on, or it's going to take a long chunk of your time, you want to break it down into more manageable tasks. And you start by like 20 minutes, time yourself, take a break, and then extend it to like 30 minutes and then 40 minutes. I could be wrong, but please, Haley, tell me more.
Yes, you have the basic right. So with the Pomodoro technique, it's setting a timer. I've seen both 20 and 25 minutes. So you set the timer for like 20 to 25 minutes, and then you work on your task. So it's the reading, it's the math homework, it's the essay, whatever your task is, you're going to work on that task for 25 minutes. After that 25 minutes is up, then you're going to take a break. And since due to COVID and everything is online, we really suggest like during your 5-minute break, you're stepping up, you're stepping away from the computer, you're not going to get on your phone. There's a lot of breathing exercises you can do. You can go get some water, go get a snack, but kind of just step away from the screens for 5 minutes. And then after the 5 minutes is up, you go back and you work for 25 more minutes. And then you take the 5-minute break. And then if you do that for a total of 3 to 4 times, then you can take a longer break. So a longer like 10 to 15 minute break. And then by the end of it, you end up working for around like 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like that because it's more structured and you are taking those breaks. So, and then what Katerina, what you were talking about with like the 40 minutes and stuff, we're gonna get into like a little bit later, and I think 2 slides from now.
I have a question. So sometimes like this happens when like I'll have like 2 classes back to back, and I'm like the teacher just like keep on. It's like it's just an hour and 20-minute class that's straight through just learning, but I have one right before it, so I end up getting like super fatigued. Is there like, I feel like the Pomodoro effect can't really work because you're like trying to take notes. Is there anything you think you can do that would help kind of make it a little less, tough for me to continuously follow along?
So like you have like back-to-back classes, right? And there seems to be no like chance for a break.
Yeah, they're small. They're like shorter classes, but they're back-to-back, so they like just go through it like so quick, like from start to finish.
No. So something I don't know how comfortable you are with this, but like sometimes it's also helpful to just ask the professor for a break, like in the middle of the class, like, oh professor, like, do you think we can take a break, like a 5-minute break, or even like ask them beforehand that like it would be helpful if you can take a break, because chances are you're not the only one who feels that way, and so maybe having that might help. Communicating. Also, I think a lot of it is preemptive as well. So meaning like you plan ahead of time. So I know that for me, right, my Tuesdays and Wednesdays suck because I have work from 9 to 4, and then I have classes from 4 to 10 p.m. And so like random breaks in between, right? And so with that said, like I try to not spend my morning like doing a lot of work. So I just like kind of relax, or just like give myself, or I try to get enough sleep the night before as well. So basically being really diligent to make sure you got enough rest the night before for that, or just be well rested before. So that should last you a little bit longer. And some other tips that we have is, because I know like sitting through those back-to-back classes, it's tough, like sitting in front of your computer screen for like, it seems like 3 hours without a break, it's tough. In cases that you're not allowed to turn your camera off, because I know some professors want your cameras on, but like studies have shown like it's not natural. Like we don't constantly stare in the mirror and watch ourselves talk. Like right now I'm looking at myself, I'm watching my hands move. In the real world, we're not doing that. And so Zoom actually has a really cool feature that if you toggle over like your camera box or like your face, you click the 3 buttons, you can hide your self view, right? So then when you're watching your professor teach, you're not seeing yourself in the corner and kind of like distracting and like looking at yourself, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing is kind of just the way that you're sitting. So we actually don't have it in this PowerPoint right now, but they call it like the ergonomic stance. So when you're sitting, you want to make sure that you're sitting in a chair, you're sitting at like your elbows, your knees, and like your hips are all at a 90-degree angle, and that your feet are on the ground. And that if you can, like you have a mouse, like if you have a laptop, then you have a mouse. So your computer can be at least an arm's length away from you.
So it's a little bit farther. And I know like little things like that can make it just physically easier on your body during those long classes. But I do know that it can be tough, like in those back-to-back classes. So I say like do what Kevin says. If your professor says no, I mean, honestly, they can't stop you from like turning off your video for like 5 seconds and just like walking away. Or even like turning off your video and just like walking away. So you can still hear what's going on, but you're just not sitting in front of the screen. Just taking that break. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
And then along with the Pomodoro technique, there are some, Danya said split stretches during class helps too. Yeah, make sure like in your little small breaks between class, like you're stretching, you're breathing. It really helps a lot. So we have a few apps on here. The Forest app, the Flora app, Tide, and Focus Keeper. Kevin and I just discovered, just researched more the Flora app today because we both use Forest. But basically, all of these apps are kind of productivity apps. So with Forest, you can set a timer for like 25 minutes on your phone. And so as you can see, we have the pictures here. As this 25 minutes go along, a tree starts to grow. But if like you pick up your phone to like text someone back or kind of like go on social media, if you get out of the app, your tree dies, right? So it's kind of just like it's a fun little app because you don't want your little tree to die. So then you stay off your phone. Flora, there's a little bit more to it. So on Flora, you can create to-do lists, you can create goals. Forest costs money, and then Flora is free. So, and then I know Kevin's a huge fan of the Forest app, so he could tell you how many trees he's grown so far this year.
I can tell you how many hours I saved. So since February, I've been off my phone for 600 hours. So that's 600 hours doing something besides going on my phone. So the possibilities are endless. It's great. Plus you can also do, there's a social aspect to it as well, where you can get your friends to get in on it, right? And you can actually like try to like top one another by like, planning longer than they have. So like there's a weekly ranking list. So it's actually, it's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun to stay off your phone.
Yeah, and then Tide and Focus Keeper, they kind of do the same thing. Just like keeps you off your phone for like 20 to 25 minutes or however long you set the timer for.
Another good one that wasn't mentioned is Pocket Points. I don't know if people have heard of that one. You can actually get coupons that you can use at stores like I know Chick-fil-A. You can get literally not use your phone and then get like a free sandwich at Chick-fil-A. So that's, I guess, more of an incentive app too.
Yeah, Pocket Points is a good one. I used that when I was in school.
Yeah, same.
Another thing you can do is just like try and replace, because like, we go on our phones, it's more of like avoidance, like just not do whatever it is we're supposed to do and just replace that avoidant habit with like another one. So like, again, if you have a lot of like nervous energy, you can't channel that. So like just kind of sprucing up, tidying up the place. Or if you're not, you can just try and like get in more to reading. Or hell, even like playing The Sims is like kind of better for your attention span than just like goofing off on your phone.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So another thing too, I'm glad you mentioned that is I know like sometimes when we're reading, right, we have like a really heavy text, right? And sometimes our mind wanders and like next thing you know, you just spend a whole page reading but not remember anything because you're too busy thinking about hamburgers, right? So what you can do is you can actually get a notepad and just like anytime a random thought pops up that's like taking your focus away, just write it down. And then you get back into reading. And just like that, I think like that thought, it just disappears. At least for me, right? And so that's something you can do too, is like if a thought comes up, just write it down, just continue reading, continue working. And if it's something that's very important, right, it's a way for you to kind of defer the action so you can deal with it later. So that's something that can help you to kind of focus better. So
Cool. And then so this slide is flow, right? So as it's kind of the opposite of the Pomodoro technique, because I've had students, if I introduce the Pomodoro technique, they accept it, but then they find themselves challenged because like when they're working for 25 minutes, then they hit the state of flow. So it's hard for them to take that break because once they take the break, it's hard for them to get back into it. So flow is a little bit different. So flow is like when you're in the zone, you're reading, you're in the zone, you're writing, you're in the zone. So you're just going to stay in that zone. You are going to keep working until you hit that wall. And so you kind of time yourself. So let's say like right now it's 3:30, right? Or yeah, 4:30, sorry. So right now it's 4:30 and I'm going to start working and I'm in the zone. And then by the time I get my first distraction, let's say it's 5:10. So I've worked for 40 minutes. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break. And then once I feel like, okay, I'm ready to go back in the zone again, I'm going to get back to work. So flow is a little bit different where you work a little bit longer and you stay focused for a little bit longer. So when you're in the zone, you don't want to break it.
Yeah. It's very helpful for things like writing papers. Like imagine trying to break that up like 25 minutes, but if you, sometimes we can just sit and just do a paper for like a long time. So yeah, you play around with the techniques and see what helps. I also attached a handout for that as well.
And then for this one, we want to know what helps you maintain focus. So what strategies do you have right now that helps you maintain focus? So we have a question in the chat. Do you have any tips on how to get into that zone? I think it's different for everyone, but there's a piece of advice that I learned from a professor last year in my learning and motivation class. And what she said is when it's really hard to get started, right? Sometimes getting started is the hardest part. She said, just sit down and work for 5 minutes. Just like work for 5 minutes, put your phone away, just concentrate for 5 minutes. You can set a timer and everything. And once that 5 minutes is up, you'll realize that getting started was less harder than it actually proved to be. And so that has worked for me, just like sitting down for that initial 5 minutes and just working. Kevin, do you have any advice?
Yeah. Donya gets motivated when spite's involved. Yeah, show that X what he or she is missing out on by. But yeah.
Another like way you can utilize that is one of my professors, I really don't like him. So I realized, hey, if I start this assignment like a week early, I get to bombard his emails with these stupidest questions I can think of, and he has to hold my hand and walk me through it because guess what? I pay his salary.
That works too. Yeah, thanks, Donya. So yeah, so you can do that too. I think I like how she brought that up because that actually there's an aspect of that that's like emotional based, right? Like a lot of times we avoid work because we're scared of work, right? Procrastination actually is it's an emotional thing. We're avoiding something that's uncomfortable, right? And so I guess it's helpful for you to kind of think about like your emotions and see how you can utilize that. So like for Donya, it's like utilizing that spite and like really using that to carry her over, right? Sometimes it could be joy or happiness, right? A lot of times when I like I know that like, yes, I'm paying for this as well, but I also want to have a good time in class. And often when you do your work and you study and you're caught up, classes become more enjoyable. And so for me, it's like, man, I really want to enjoy class. So I got to work, I got to study and like get ready so that when I'm in class for those 3 hours, like it's not a waste of time for me and I'll actually be engaged. So like, really use your emotions because they're there, right? And I think another tip too, my force just rang. I just had a 2-hour planning cycle. My tree just grew. But anyway, another tip too is, let's see. Oh, actually you said the 5 minute already. That's actually very helpful. Stay focused in the zone.
Honestly, I think you have to, it's a trial and error. With time management, everything's a trial and error. So just find what works best for you. Like even like the time of day that you're studying. Like let's say that you typically study at night, but you notice in the morning you're more awake and you're more active. Switch it up, like switch your schedule up. And then it's gonna be a trial and error until you find what works best for you. And like finding things to motivate you. Like I know tonight after class, I'm gonna watch Netflix, and that's what's motivating me to like stick through it today, So it's the little things that you have to find to motivate you.
Yeah. Like also it's helpful to do the hard things first. I know like conventional wisdom is like, do the easy things first and build up momentum, but it's actually opposite because Because if you do the hard, because then if you're already spent all that time doing the easy stuff, at the end when you get the hard stuff, you're like, man, I already spent all this time working. I don't want to work anymore. And so it's a bigger like obstacle. But if you start with the hard stuff, right, it just goes downhill from there. It becomes easier, right? So like for me, I like the way I work is like I usually like put my hardest. So I definitely have like things I like more, right? So I actually put that task as like, you know, at the end, so that I work through all like the stuff I don't like, so I can get to the end work, which is more enjoyable, right? Because there's more motivation there. So you can try that too, like, you know, do the thing that's harder first, and just like do the 5-minute thing, and you're gonna be in there for a while. And so when you're done, like you'll be done, and so you can go do the more fun work. Yeah, good question, Francesco. Is it Francesco?
Yes, it is. Perfect.
Okay, cool. So yeah, does anyone have any other tips that that helps them stay focused?
I like listening to music, but I don't like kind of like going on my phone, like changing it to like different things. So like I usually just like find like one artist that's kind of like good, like a chiller kind of guy, like maybe like John Mayer, and just like go throughout John Mayer essentials, and it kind of just like keeps me like grounded into like just, okay, I'm just gonna be listening to my music and just getting whatever I need to be, like whatever needs to be done. So yeah.
Nice. Do you like coffee shop music?
Yeah, elevator music, all that stuff. You have to all the classic early 2000s, you know.
Oh, I feel you. Cool. Anyone else?
I actually, when I'm studying, I indulge in berries, which sounds so weird, but it actually always works. I have to like keep my camera on and off. Sorry about that. But I eat berries. Like when I'm studying, it just helps me. Like that, like berries. That's it. Yeah.
Like what kind of berries?
Like all types of berries: blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and some little nuts on the side. I just like eat small things.
Bananas are berries too, Sophia.
Yeah. Wow.
Really interesting fact of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, learn something every day.
Sophia, that's the cutest study method I've ever heard, and I'm going to try it later this evening.
That one, and I believe Fanny and I share the same one. I love to listen to lo-fi music. Lo-fi music, like not specifically white noise, it's like beats. Sometimes I like with voice, but it's just you find college music on YouTube, and I've been listening to those since like 6 years ago, and it works.
I agree strongly.
Lo-fi music. Cool. Yeah,
I have
thank
a
you.
question for the group, if it's okay. So normally I don't have an issue focusing to start work, but I do have an issue relaxing my mind, especially if I've been at the computer all day, and I know I have to get some sleep now or else I won't have time in the morning. So anyone have any tips or recommendations for how to relax your mind and calm down and just stop thinking about your to-do list for tomorrow right before going to bed? I don't know if anyone struggles with insomnia. I've heard some really random tips, like reading in another language helps calm my mind. Meditating sounds cool, Chrisanne. But like, yeah, I'm open to hearing any suggestions.
Honestly, like working out definitely helps. So again, like just stretching your whole body and kind of, yeah, I like to do like the flexibility stretches because those like kind of hurt, but like it's a good hurt. And also like if you have the option, just go on a little walk outside, take yourself out to pasture, and just kind of get into that routine of, okay, like I'm engaging another completely different portion of my body versus my mind.
Yeah.
I think I sometimes have trouble sleep, like going to bed like right after I've just been doing like a bunch of work, and I'm like just last night actually I had to write a rough draft for some for my English class, and my brother is big on like breathing techniques. I just use some of his breathing techniques, and I don't even have to like leave the bed in order to do it. So I just do that, and within like 5-10 minutes I'm out. So that helps me out.
Yeah, I was just about to say breathing techniques are really good. They have them on YouTube, like guided meditation / breathing techniques, and the voice that they have, like the people leading it, they have such soothing voices that honestly it just puts me to sleep. Like I don't even do the breathing exercises. It's just like a nice and calming, and relaxing activity.
Thanks,
Further Donya's point, oh, sorry, Kat.
Oh, no, you go on.
I was going to say that the reason that if you've been studying by the computer and you're having trouble falling asleep, the computer emits blue light, which sort of screws with your circadian rhythms, which are your sort of your sleep rhythms. So taking some time to go out during the day, getting some sunlight, some vitamin D, helps produce melatonin, which is the chemical in your brain that tells your brain that it's sleep time. So, I mean, try to limit blue light 2 hours before going to bed. I wear blue light blocking glasses. That also helps. But yeah, try get some sun to regulate your sleep patterns.
I heard so many people having these blue glasses kind of thing. Because you use them, can you like put in the chat box like a link to buy them? So many people have been using, have been mentioning them.
Yeah, I think they sell them on Amazon. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so I got them built into my prescription glasses, Warby Parker. They have an option to add like blue blocking filters on them. So
Yeah.
Katerina, do you write down your to-do list before you sleep, or do you do it in the morning?
That's a really good question. It's really very spontaneous any time of the day when I remember I have to do tasks. So I guess it doesn't matter when I do a to-do list. It's just always on the top of my head, and it's like something I'm anxious about, things I have to do.
So yeah, something I found that was helpful was actually planning out your day the night before, like writing out what your tasks are going to be tomorrow. Because I think knowing that, like, it kind of lets your mind know that, like, okay, it's already on there. It's going to get done tomorrow. So like that gives you some, like, it helps you to not worry about tomorrow, because you'll do it tomorrow, right? It's already on the list, right? So that's something you can try out too.
Thanks, guys, for all the suggestions.
No problem. And then I know originally we had until 4:45, so we have a few more slides. We had an activity, but I'm not sure we're gonna have enough time to do it. So I say, like, for this slide, basically it's kind of just staying connected. So it's really hard right now with COVID and everything. Like, we're separated from our friends, we might be separated from our families, we're not in class, we're not like physically with each other. So it's really important that you are staying connected. You could join a club. It's really important that you take the initiation to put yourself out there. And when we say, like, reach out to family, classmates, professors, etc., we know, like, being on Zoom all day is tough. So, like, try an old-fashioned phone call. But if you're like me, you don't like talking on the phone at all, just send that quick text to that person, like, hey, I was just thinking of you. And that's, like, good for me. But just make sure that you are staying connected and you are communicating with others.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. And then Francesco, we had the question of, can we reach out to the Kortschak Center? And if so, what should we contact you for? Of course. So towards the end, so Kevin, we had like a small activity where we were gonna like go through like goal setting and stuff, but I don't think we have time. But so yeah, what we're gonna challenge you all to do is to create a SMART goal, so a specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goal based off what, like, a certain strategy that you saw today. So maybe you really like the flow time technique, or you really like something that someone said today. So I'm gonna make a goal that within this next week, I'm gonna just try it out and see if it works for me. And then, so in the chat, there's a question, do we have any meditation and or anything related to de-stressing stressing situations? Yeah, so on our website, I could put the link in it, but on our website, we have a lot of self-care tips. We have a lot of like on-demand videos where you can listen to a coach, like, kind of go through different steps. And also next week, actually, we are going, the workshop that the Kortschak Center is doing is based off stress management. So next week, I believe the times are, I might mix it up, but I actually have it in a sheet that I'm gonna share with you. Next week, Kevin will share it. Next week, it's stress management. So if you can make it to one of those workshops, then that would be good. Or if not, then we have drop-in hours where you can meet one-on-one with a coach. So you could meet one-on-one with like me, Kevin, and there's a bunch of other coaches. And so we also have the schedule for drop-ins. Yeah, Kevin just shared it. So if you're free in between any of those times, you can kind of just come drop in and talk one-on-one with the coach, and then kind of just like tell your story, tell what you need help with, and the coach will kind of like guide you and give you advice and just listen to you. So
yeah, consider this workshop like a kind of like an appetizer for like what we can do one-on-one. So yeah, hop on in. We actually not a lot of students have been coming in, so like you'll get a lot of attention.
Yes. And then I'm going to share one more thing or two more things actually with y'all before we head out. There is another thing that the OTs for the Kortschak Center, the occupational therapists that work at the Kortschak Center, they put together these events called Feeling Connected Fridays. So on Fridays, you kind of get together. And I believe they're doing a pet parade. I don't know if they already did it or if it's the one that's tomorrow. It's the pet parade where you get to show off your pets. So it's like a little like fun self-care type of deal on Fridays. And then last but not least, at the beginning of the session, Francesco, you had asked me if we were going to go over this, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. But I found it on our website. Did it send?
What
yes.
are you trying to send?
I said network disconnected.
Oh, snap. What are you trying to send?
The COVID time management.
Oh, I'll send it over.
Yeah, so Kevin can send it. But that's another good time management tool where it's self-explanatory on the sheet that we're going to send, but you kind of get to pick and choose which tasks that you have. So in quadrant 4, it's tasks that you like need to stray away from, like going on your phone, texting your friend back. In quadrant 1, it's like urgent tasks that you need to get done right away. In quadrant 2, it's like tasks that you don't need to get done right away, but they need to be on your radar. So it's a really cool tool that you can use when you're planning out your day and your time. And Kevin just sent it. But yeah, so the services we have, the drop-in hours that we were mentioning before, workshops, next week is stress management. We also have a virtual creativity corner on our website. The on-demand workshops on our website is just videos of previous coaches kind of going over different resources. And then different tools and resources. So like everything that we've sent in the chat so far is also on our website as well. And that's what the page looks like.
So I know like we just do a lot of things at you and it might seem overwhelming, but I guess something I would like you to like think about is just like even though there's a bunch of like different ways to do things, what we're trying to advocate isn't so much as like you do every single one and you'll be a successful student, but rather it's more so like if you feel like, you know, you're kind of like bogged down or you feel like kind of lost, just know that there is a way out of all of this. There is like people have spent like many hours just like figuring out like more effective productivity like techniques, right? And so all of this just show you like, no, there is help for you, right? There's a Kortschak Center, there's all these resources, and you know, you don't have to stay stuck and you don't have to feel alone because we're here for you and there's all these resources. So hopefully that gives you some hope. If you ever feel like, you know, it feels overwhelming. Yeah.
No, at the end, that's why we're doing like this series of the week webinars, because USC has so many amazing resources, such as the Kortschak Center, that many students simply have no idea about, you know? So all we're trying to do is get these resources out there because, again, like there's a Kortschak Center and so many other resources at USC that we don't know and we should take advantage of. So thank you once again for being here also.
Yeah, glad to help fellow transfers. I was a transfer student too. Ooh, at UCLA.
No.
Will has to put you on his podcast.
No, wow, I don't interview Bruins.
Okay.
It's okay, I'm here now. I'm home. I'm back home.
Okay, back with the Jedis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Thank you so much, Billy and Kevin,
what's up?
for everything. Just wanted to add that. It means a lot.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you so much.
Thanks. It was an honor to talk to y'all. Yeah, drop-in hours if you want to talk to a coach one-on-one. We're here for you.